Hey there, Plow and Pantry people. Welcome to my overdue fridge and freezer and kitchen pantry cleanout. I think I said in my last video, which I believe was on New Year's Eve, that I would do this the very next day, but I am just getting to it on January 4th. I thought about starting the pantry challenge the first full week of January instead of on the 1st because I knew the first few days of the year were going to be really busy for us, but I thought I could just smash it in there, and that did not work out. Better late than never, though. I was still doing the pantry challenge those days, I just didn't get to the great clean out here until several days in. On this particular day, I'm staying in the kitchen. I explained in my intro video that I start my pantry challenge in the kitchen with the fridge, the regular freezer, and the kitchen pantry, which I also call my working pantry, which is separate from my main food storage in my basement. I started off by cleaning off the island, and I get my cleaning spray and my cleaning cloth ready and a notepad and pen so that I can make notes of things I need to use up, ideas for meals as I come across ingredients, things like that. Just as they come to me, I can start writing down the contents. I also started with a quick once over of what it looks like so that you can see what I'm starting with. I have a lot of leftovers from New Year's Eve. You'll see that when I get into the pantry part 2. I have a lot of chips, a lot of crackers, just a lot of dips and things just left over from New Year's Eve that are still good at this point. Just a word here as we go into this video about being a grown-up, you will see a combination of natural food, healthy food, and some processed unhealthy food today. You can criticize our food choices in your head instead of my comment section. I appreciate that. So I started in the top left shelf here because this is my nemesis shelf. That, and it also makes sense to clean from top down, you know. And I decided to just be brutal today. In fact, I was more brutal than normal today in general, and I feel freer for it, actually, by getting rid of so much. This particular shelf has a lot of condiment type things. It's got like PB&J and mayo and salsa, and then we also tend to collect things we want to try, like when we visit a new place and they have interesting sounding jam or relish or something like that. There are also a lot of things I buy to use in a recipe, but I don't need it all, so I decide today whether or not I will use it up soon. Soon being like by the end of the pantry challenge, or if not, I let it go. I normally keep things and I think I will use them, and then a year or two later, they're still there. In fact, in my freezer, there were some items from several years ago that I get rid of today. But I have to be honest with myself, and if I can't toss it at least once a year, then when can I? I just hate food waste, so it's always hard for me to do that. But today I was in a letting go mood, and so it was a good day to do this. I made a lot of progress, and I don't regret tossing so much. In fact, one of the things I like about doing the pantry challenge is that I tend to keep my fridge empty and use what's in there. And that always helps me waste less because I can see it all at one time, and just seeing it all helps me use it all better. I don't know why that is when I know things are in there, but whatever is facing me all the time is just what gets used, and so having less in there helps me stay on top of things before they go bad. I usually try to carry that on after the pantry challenge, but after a few weeks there's like an event or something and then I have to stock a lot for, and it just gets full again and it's a mess. But I like it during the pantry challenge to just kind of have that empty fridge. It also feels cleaner. I'm also having problems with that left door there. It keeps closing on me. The design of this kitchen it only allows like it doesn't allow one of those one-door fridges. You have to have the double because it won't open because the island's in the way. And it doesn't allow me to take out the bottom drawer to clean it, which bothers me a lot. But I started out by cleaning that shelf, taking everything out. I have problems reaching all the parts because I'm short, but I have a stool. And then I give it a good thorough cleaning and that includes the walls around that shelf, whatever shelf I'm on, I will do the back of it and the walls around that part. And then I put stuff back and I check expiration dates and ask myself if I'm going to use it. All the normal things. I got rid of quite a bit, and I left a few things out that belong in other places in the fridge, and that is another thing that happens here. A designated area will get full, and something gets put in another spot so it has a place to go, and that sometimes leads to not being able to find something and thinking that we're out of it and opening another container of it. Does anybody else do that? Tell me I'm not the only one. I also check for sticky bottoms as I put things back, and some things get wiped down before they go back too. I put things that we use less in the back where we have a hard time reaching it, and things we use a lot or things I need to use up soon that I want to see in the front. I have some funny store-bought jelly, like squeeze jelly in there. My husband does this peanut butter and jelly directions thing with his class and buys the cheapest stuff for it, but then he brings it home and we have to finish it. I also find myself labeling some things as I go. I had jars of homemade sauces and salad dressings and things that I didn't have labeled. I actually had to taste one thing, and it was Serrano sauce that I made from the garden. Not labeling that was a spicy mistake because I tasted it and was like, woo! But it also is really good, so I kept it. I also make notes as I go about the meal ideas, the products I want to use at first. I have a spot on my notepad there too for some things that I need to buy, but that's very short because the point here is to use what we have, not buy more. And it just continues the same process on every shelf. By the way, how much are eggs around you guys right now? I know there's a shortage because of the bird flu, but this is the first time I've had to buy eggs in 3 years. And because I only have older hens right now, I'll get more in the spring. But not only were the shelves nearly bare, but these are regular eggs. They're not organic, they're not free range, they're nothing. And they were like $5.42 a dozen. And that's my local grocery store. My Walmart was completely out of eggs the other day. I was just wondering what the situation was where you are. I do have some freeze-dried eggs in the basement that I will use for quite a few things in the coming weeks, but that doesn't really work for hard-boiled eggs, and my son wanted some deviled eggs at New Year's Eve. He likes eggs while he's here because he's at the academy and they only have powdered eggs there. At one point, I'm showing you one of my favorite dips. If you have a Trader Joe's near you, a box of their steamed lentils and a carton of their fresh bruschetta, just combine the whole packages of both of those together and just eat it with chips or veggie dippers. It's not much to look at, but it is totally delicious. I'm leaving a lot of the leftovers in here because they were just from the other day at New Year's Eve, and I'm coming across them and just thinking I will use them Sunday nights because Sunday nights here we have leftovers, like a leftover bar. Sometimes I add frozen appetizers if we don't have a lot of leftovers. Sometimes I repurpose the leftovers into appetizers. We call it appetizer movie night. But sometimes we watch a football game, or lately we've been watching NCIS. It's really the only TV that I watch is Sunday night family time. So Sunday night, this fridge will be more empty than it is actually at the end of this video. I also gave a lot of what I cleaned out to the chickens. Some of the stuff I got rid of didn't all go in the trash. Some of it went to the chickens. They were fed well. They also like Sunday nights because most leftovers that don't get eaten are taken to them. It's their favorite day of the week. We have all kinds of junk left over from New Year's Eve right now. I have Velveeta cheese in there, which is, there's only 2 times a year that Velveeta is in my house. It's New Year's Eve and Super Bowl. So I just bought a bigger block this year, and I will use it for Super Bowl since it lasts that long. This New Year's Eve for our cheese fondue, it's one of our traditions that we have, I used my friend Katy's recipe from Louisiana Cooking and Living. She made a queso and taquitos, and her recipe was really good and easy, and it did well in the fondue pot too. I'll put a link to the video with her recipe in the description box if you're interested in that one. Once I was done with the main part, I did the crisper drawers. Those are always the grossest. I take them to my laundry room sink to wash because it's a much bigger sink. My kitchen sink is really kind of small. But those got cleaned, and I can finally fit the cabbage in from my garden, and the chickens get more treats from there because I had some lettuce that was not on its brightest day. And then is my other nemesis, the meat and cheese drawer. It's heavy on partial bags of various cheeses right now from last month's activities and brunches and events and special meals, etc. So my first task is just to separate the cheese and meat. I usually have lunch meat in there, and those get tossed today because there wasn't much in them, and school's been out a few weeks and they were gross. I also have a bowl I keep in there that holds all the extra sauces and ketchup and things we get at restaurants. It was overflowing and bugging me, so I had previously gotten rid of the older stuff and the things my family members think they will use but don't, so I threw them away when they weren't looking. It's just a convenient corral for me to keep them all in that bowl in the back corner of the drawer. And my Baby Bell cheese, I get the big Costco packs. Those were starting to run around freely, and there were only a few left, so I piled them in an empty jelly jar for now. And then it was time to do the doors. I am really hoping that I have cut down on the door contents and the top shelf contents by the end of the challenge at the end of February. Again, I'm just checking the dates, cleaning jars, deciding if I'll keep it. When I get over to the left side, I was trying to the right side. When I get over to the right side, I was trying to rearrange it, but it mostly went back to where it was. I have some seed packets here too because some varieties of plants do better if their seeds are cold for a while before planting, so I just store some of those in my fridge. I guess that would be my tell me you're a gardener without telling me you're a gardener picture. Pictures of seeds in my refrigerator. If you see me talking in there somewhere, my middle daughter was getting ready to leave for work. And apparently I did not get a shot of my refrigerator at the end of it when I was done cleaning it to see how it all looks now, but it was nice. But then I moved on to my fridge freezer, which I don't think I got to last year. I have serious issues with this fridge freezer. I like the space and the drawers, but you can't lift anything out to clean it other than the ice tub. So I can't get under the drawers very well at all. And I have to twist myself into a pretzel to do it, and it doesn't come out far enough in my opinion, so I can't squeeze myself between the door and the fridge to get into the back spaces. It's just really hard. I like to keep in this freezer only frozen bananas, nuts, open packages of fruits and vegetables, and chocolate chips. But as you can see, there's a lot more in there. And some things had dates from like 2020, so I decided to let a lot go here. I had several things with the dates of 2020 and 2021, and it felt very freeing to just get rid of some stuff and have it open properly and not be too packed. I also have ice packs in here, like kids' lunchbox ice packs or my husband's lunches. So I just took all of it out. I didn't go one zone at a time here like I did with the fridge. I really needed to just regroup some things. I also came across evidence that someone put a soda in here at one point and it exploded, and they tried to clean it up but didn't do well enough, so I was dealing with that. And some of the bags of chocolate chips had dropped some contents. It was a mess, and it was hard to clean because the access is hard, so this one frustrated me. So I tossed some things, I moved some things back out to the deep freezer where it really belongs, and I put things into their zones. I also cleaned out the ice tub so it was empty, but lately I'm really into ice in my drinks, so I made my other daughter bring me some ice home from her work. I kind of just put things in zones, but I really kind of wanted to containerize those zones this time so it wouldn't get all mixed together again, and so I shopped a stack of baskets and tubs I have downstairs in my basement, and I didn't find anything suitable, so I ended up actually going out to a semi-local Dollar Tree Family Dollar combo. I have to tell you that I love Dollar Tree, but I hate Family Dollar, so when that store went in, it was like less than a year ago, I really wasn't impressed or interested in it. It's not totally near me, it's the next town over. So I stopped in there one day just because it was way more convenient as far as where I was going to be and where the other ones are located, and I was so impressed. It is large and clean, and it had all the things I see in other people's Dollar Tree videos that mine never has, and it has all the containers and all the colors, and so I went in there real quick and I picked up a menagerie of things really because I wasn't sure what I would like better. I took measurements with me, but I still wasn't sure, and so I got a few tubs and I just resorted all my stuff into them. I also had to change before I went to the dollar store because I had junk all over me from cleaning, flecks of food, wet spots. I was a hot mess. I was not fit for public consumption, so that is why you see an outfit change here. What I ended up getting works well for now. I think it'll work even better when some of the stuff is used up by the end of the pantry challenge because you can't really see the organizers right now, but they are under there. I was especially excited about getting my ice packs into a container because they're always floating around and hard to find. So then I get started on my kitchen pantry. This is what I call my working pantry. It is not where I store most of my home preserved food. It is where the lunchbox snacks are and about one of everything that I commonly use, and I replenish that from downstairs. So again, I cleared off the island, I got my rag out, my cleaner, and my notepad ready, and so I worked from the top down again, taking stuff out. I have the top shelf rice and flour, not flour, I have rice on the shelf, chips, which sometimes we don't have any. Right now we have a lot because of New Year's Eve, some pectin and Japanese cucumber pickling stuff. My oldest daughter came home from work with the ice during the shelf, so I paused to deal with that. And then I also have like some homemade paleo granola up there. These shelves are so deep and they're hard to work with, so I put things in bins just so I can slide out whole groups of things instead of several individual things trying to get to what's in the back. In my last kitchen, I had deep shelves like these, but they had sliding shelves, so it wasn't really an issue. But I cleaned out the tubs, I cleaned the shelf, I sorted through the stale chips and things and put stuff back. I also had some Cousin T's pancake mix in there too. It's expensive, but it is the best gluten-free pancakes I've had. If you're into gluten-free pancakes, you might want to check those out. Not sponsored, just love the product. I also combined 2 containers of powdered sugar I had up there. I don't know why I had 2 containers. On the next shelf, I have things that are a little more common, like protein powder, which I don't actually use very often, and special sugars, like the big chunky sugar that I sprinkle over scones, that kind of thing. And I got rid of some expired Swerve sweetener, and my citric acid is in there that I use sometimes for canning. I also have a lot of baking items on this shelf, like my baking powder, my cocoa powder, my sugar, my all-purpose flour. My counter jars have the einkorn flour since I use that more, things like that. The next two shelves are the ones that get accessed the most, and I really wanted to change the top one of those two. I have forever had a can sorter there that keeps cans rolling forward to the front when you take one out. I had it in my last house, I loved it, but since I've moved here to grow more of my own food and a lot of those cans have been replaced with home canned foods, it doesn't serve me as well because you don't store home canned foods on their sides like that, like you do store-bought cans. It's just not good for the seal. And so I have all these jars littered around the outside of the can sorter and all these non-canned food items on the rack, and so I decided to look in my pile of organizers downstairs and see what I could find. It's my hope that by the end of this year, the whole house will be organized in all the right containers and I can get rid of my pile of extras that I keep around in case I can use it on the next project. What I found downstairs were two shelf dividers that I put in here, and I also used a tub I got earlier at the Dollar Tree that I didn't end up using in the freezer, and I think I'll go back and get two more of those on a different day because they worked well in corralling some groups of items here. They fit above and below those shelves really well. I took that can sorter rack down to the basement. I think when I organize down there, I can use it because I do have some store-bought canned food more down there that I have as backups to my home canned food. The next shelf has lunchbox snacks and teas and odds and ends. Again, take it all out, purge it, clean it, sort it back in. I get a lot more cutthroat with my teas. I took some out and put them on the counter next to my Keurig because I know that will help me use them. One, because I will look at them several times a day, but also because it annoys me to have little things all over the counters. So I will drink some of them that I just want to use up just to get them out of my way. There are two that I just got rid of because I tried them and didn't like them, and I just have a hard time wasting food is the only reason I was holding on to them, but they're weird, so I don't even want to take them to my tea drinking friends and ask if they want them. Some teas I have discovered that I like better for iced tea and some better for hot tea. Some are good at both ways, some are only good one way. So I put some back that I don't necessarily want hot, but I want to try them again in the summer iced before I get rid of them. My husband passed through here too, taking a break from working on some chicken coop repairs. That big jar, glass jar with tea and sweet and low in is because that's how he likes his iced tea, sweet tea here in the South. And I always use those in combo, so we just dump them together in the big jar to use. Then it was time to get to the bottom of things. These things are the things that we use the least, but they're also the most messed up shelves. I use a large tub to corral a bunch of small things like individual sleeves of crackers and small bags of these sugar-free chocolates I like. There's cereal on this shelf that we don't eat a lot of, some paleo crackers. I think I showed you some cookies from Trader Joe's that a friend recently turned me on to. These are snickerdoodles that are safe if you have a kid with food allergies. They're gluten-free, nut-free, egg-free, they're everything free, but they're really good. So all that got cleaned out. There's actually a lot of room on these shelves now. I pulled everything up front so that I can reach it easily, but most of these shelves are like half to 2/3 full and not all the way full anymore. On the very bottom shelf, I have popcorn and seasoning and some beans that were older, so I decided to cook those right then in my Instant Pot and use them in dinner. I spilled them when I got them out, beans all over the counter. But I had chicken out thawing for dinner, but I wasn't sure yet what I was going to do with it, so I decided right then we'd have burritos, so I cooked the beans to make sure they weren't too old because beans get really hard to cook when they're too far past their expiration date. And so they were fine, and burritos it was. There were also a couple drink mixes I got for various things. We're not really a powdered drink family. I usually make lemonade from scratch, but I bought a particular one for a thing I was trying. Same with the Gatorade powder there. My dried cranberries and sea salt are also on this shelf. And that was it. I'm not going to lie. This took me most of the day, including my trip to the Dollar Tree, but it feels good to have it all cleaned up. I don't think I took you along last year when I cleaned out the fridge and freezer and this pantry. I think I only did the basement with you guys. So let me know if you want me to include you in more of these organizing cleaning videos. They're not my normal thing, but as we go through this year and I'm trying to get my house reorganized, let me know if you want to come along for that. And that is it for today. So thank you guys so much for spending your valuable time with me. I love having you here. I hope to see you again in a couple days when I will update you on what we've eaten during our first week of the Pantry Challenge. And a few days after that, I will have a canning video for you too. And if you haven't already, please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't, and let me know in the comments if you are doing your own pantry challenge, how it's going for you. See you guys in the next one.